All right, so I know it's been a while since I've done a review, but I figure the best place to start is with an RB Customs figure. And this figure harkens back to some of my early love of DC Comics. I was one of the many people that back in the 80s read The Dark Knight Returns, and that really got me into comics back in 1986. And around that same time, I read Legends, which is, of course, sort of the follow-up crossover event to Crisis on Infinite Earths. And saw the Phantom Stranger there as kind of a key character who was, watching over things and who was sort of helping behind the scenes and sort of standing toe to toe with Darkseid, and Darkseid sort of wouldn't engage him. And as I saw this character, and even though I didn't know a ton about him at the time, I thought, wow, this has got to be the most powerful character in the DC universe. Found out later he wasn't. That role sort of fell to the Spectre, at least at the time. That's probably changed since then, but thought that this was just a really cool character and had no idea sort of what his backstory was. And over time, I learned sort of the different backstory origins of the Phantom Stranger, and how he had kind of a little bit of a historical / religious bent, which is kind of interesting. But still just sort of loved the character and loved the lack of sort of concrete understanding of really who this character was and why this character was there. But he's sort of part of that triumvirate of power with Dr. Fate and the Spectre. The Phantom Stranger sort of rounds out that group. But if you look at this, when I saw that Roan had produced this character, had made this custom, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to have that. We're right in the middle of kind of getting the JLI, the Justice League International lineup made. Roan has helped me complete that lineup, trying to get those figures into my Superpowers collection, but had to stop and have this figure made because it's one of my all-time favorites. So let's take a look at some of the great things about this figure, and just one of the powers of looking at the powers of an amazing customizer here. So you can see a good close-up here on the head, and this is actually a Kenner Batman Forever Val Kilmer head that has been resculpted, and fits in perfectly, sort of superpower scale. Has a custom hat, and talking about the body, this is made from, I believe, a Flash, like McFarlane Flash action figure. So a little bit of the higher shoulders, which is fine, fits perfectly with the character. And, of course, you'll see there's this awesome custom sculpted suit jacket and suit pants and shoes that go along with it, dress shoes that go along with it, which just complete the character. There are some other really, really cool details when it comes to this figure. I'll actually spin him around a little bit so you can see from the side. You can see from the back. You can see from the other side. Some of the things you're going to notice here, again, you've got sort of perfect lighting around the way he's positioned the brim of the hat. It sort of creates that perfect effect. When you blend that with the darkness on the eyes, and it's hard to see here, but you sort of this perfect effect of the shadowed eyes that you have for the Phantom Stranger in most comics, which is amazing. You'll notice here that in addition to the sculpted turtleneck, he has this awesome sculpted separate gold chain and the gold medallion. And those are just really awesome accessories. Yep, that is a real gold chain, and this is a separate sculpted medallion, which is very cool. And you probably noticed this really cool feature here. And again, this is a hand that can be moved up and down to cast a spell. The spell casting hand is very cool. And like any custom, I try to be careful with it, but it is an awesome feature. And this is actually Roan's first attempt at I believe his first attempt with a character with a sculpted cape, or excuse me, not sculpted cape, but with a wired cape. And the wired cape allows you to do some very cool things. So as you can see, I can pose it in different ways. I can shape the cape how I want, and really just get this sort of awesome effect of the Phantom Stranger. And let's compare him to another RB Customs figure. Here he is with Batman. And, I love my figures in the correct scale, and I believe he's supposed to be about 6'2", Batman's 6'2", and yeah, they're about the same height. It's interesting because, with the shoulders on the McFarlane figure, they end up being a little bit taller shoulder-wise, but with the proportion and the head sculpting on the old-fashioned sort of Kenner figure this is built from, it ends up working out about accurately. So, just like human bodies, sometimes they're not built exactly the same, but they come out in the same way in terms of height and scale, and looks really, really cool. So love being able to add him to my collection. And you know, one of the cooler things I want to create is sort of the, if any of you read the Dr. Fate series back in the day, where you had Justice League International and the Phantom Stranger confront the evil Dr. Fate that was taken over by, gosh, I forgot who it was, but one of the Lords of Chaos. There's a really cool scene where they all sort of enter the fray with the Phantom Stranger, and really, really cool to create sort of a diorama effect with the JLI and Phantom Stranger entering into that. Quick behind the scenes here, just so you can see, I don't think I showed this very clearly, but you can see the back of the suit coat and just the incredible amount of work and detail and sculpting that went into this figure. This truly is a classic, one of my favorites. I did have a custom that I purchased from someone else that was really awesome as well, and loved the character, or loved that figure and what it did to my collection. But this is just sort of the ultimate version of this figure. And, you know, RB Customs continues to impress and do the amazing work, and I'll put a link to them in my bio. So please feel free to leave your comments and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.